Well, as Nigeria marks 30 years of democracy, President Bola Tinubu has urged Nigerians to never take democracy for granted. President Tinubu noted that the June 12, 1993 annulled presidential election winner, MK Abiola, sacrificed his life, which is a big deal. This was contained in his first Democracy Day speech as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This comes after one of Nigeria's most hotly contested presidential elections. Now, this 2023 election still has cases pending in court, with all sides claiming their mandates were stolen. Nigeria has enjoyed 23 years of unbroken democracy since independence and hopes to remain that way. Here's an excerpt from President Tinubu's Democracy Day speech.
Fellow compatriots, we celebrate a day that has remained a watershed in our nation's history, not just today, but for every June 12th, for the endless future that our beloved country shall exist and work stronger and stronger. Generation of Nigerians will always remember themselves that the democracy that is steadily going to become the defining essence of our polity.
Well, it's just an excerpt, and you can actually catch up the full version on our website, arise.tv. Now, well, for more on this, let's turn to someone who's enjoyed the goodwill of democracy. He was former governor of Bauchi State, and he was also one-time aviation minister and the chairman of the board of trustees of the APC Professionals Forum, Madam Isa Yuguda. Good to see you, and thanks for your time.
Good evening.
Well, I think congratulations are in order for every Nigerian. We say happy democracy day.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Now, it's a journey which many people were a little bit skeptical when it started, because Nigeria was almost getting used to something that wasn't democracy.
That's right.
Now, let us in on what it meant to you, or what it does mean to you, because pretty much later you threw your heart in the ring and you became governor under the ANPP, and pretty much later the PDP, and now here we are.
Well, with thanks to the Almighty Allah, I'm happy that at least God has given me the good health to live to see democracy growing in Nigeria. Quite all right when in 1999 it all started with campaigns and campaigns. After there's so much struggles against the military so as to establish a democratic dispensation where had been on. And successfully in 1999, we saw the rebirth of yet another chance to have an elected government, a democratic government, which is a government for the people, by the people, of the people. And the world over, that's about the best system that has been confirmed beyond reasonable doubt, will give every human being a level playing field to aspire either to the highest office in the land, and of course do everything as long as he's within the laws of the country, as against in other systems, autocratic systems, where is what the ruler or the leader says should be done, that is what is wrong, whether it is against human rights, for human rights, or anything other thing. So I believe it's a blessing that the Almighty Allah made it possible. We started this, we kick-started in 1999, and I'm happy that I was part of it, because Chief Obasanjo recruited me from the bank when I was MD of Nile Merchant Bank, and to join his cabinet way back. So I was part of his first term.
Were you skeptical then?
Well, I'm a very positive person, and I think good about our country, Nigeria, given all the potentials and gifts of nature that God has given this country. It couldn't have been for nothing. I want to strongly believe that the people he has created here, bad as they may be, as we move on, there is a point in time when their conscience will tell them that enough is enough. We have been sufficiently endured. Let's hold one another together. Let's leverage on what the Almighty God has given us, and let us live the peace that we require to grow our economy, to grow our environment, and so that at least even we can prepare for the hereafter. Because we have enough to be to enjoy on the Nigerian soils, and also enough to invest for the hereafter. So I think the journey so far has been challenging. The journey so far has been good because at least for the mere fact that the country is democratic encourages other national, especially international businessmen, say, well, the first thing they would look at is which kind of system are we practicing before you move into a country, before you start meeting some ratings to look at whether there is peace, there is this. Or the important is the country a democratic environment. So being able to achieve that. And besides, so many things came along with the economic democracy that, enable people to exercise their own rights. Laws were made that were people-friendly, and so on and so forth. So there are not things that you keep mentioning. The long and short of the story is that we have made substantial progress in the democratic concession, despite hiccups here and there.
Now let's speak about the hiccups. And we also found a little bit of that in this last election. It got to a point, and I'm quite sure you also, because you've been following this with your other professional members, it got to a point people started having this story of, oh, there wouldn't be an inauguration. And everyone felt that, because you spoke about the international community and especially those who are coming to invest. How did you feel when you also heard that rumor? Because time with that number, the military also came out to, tell every Nigerian that, look, this is not part of our plans. We're all in this democracy together. So when that rumor came out, as Malamisa Yuguda sitting in the confines of your home, how did you feel?
Well, I just took it like any other rumor. Having been around and from the little intelligence the Almighty Allah has given me, I know our dear country Nigeria has come to stay. And nobody is great. A country is greater than any one single group or individual. Nobody can challenge the elections that were held that gave birth to who today is our president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I've been part of elections since 1999, very active. And I'm telling you, the most transparent elections ever I have seen in this country. And the most acceptable, because it is from across the length of breadth of this country that the president was elected.
You're not
in
saying
environments where you never imagined that.
You're a party man?
Come again?
You're not saying this because you're a party man?
Not because I'm a party man. I'm telling you, I'm speaking from my heart. I don't think there is any election that was, except you can compare it with that of Obasanjo. I mean, Osibanjo, Abiola, of blessed memory. Because I was there in 1999 when the elections were held. I saw it under my very eyes. Every Nigerians came across the length and breadth of this country, irrespective of tribe, language, or creed, or whatever, to elect him as a president. And that's what happened in the case of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And I believe that much as Nigeria has deteriorated to a level that people compromise everything, there are laws that have been broken with impunity. But I've always said that one thing that gladdens me, and I have very strong faith in this country, is the DSS.
The DSS.
I don't believe that people will they are the only remaining agency of government that are holding Nigeria together. They will never allow this kind of mess.
The same SSS, the DSS.
The DSS, yes.
No,
they are that professional, that ethical. I'm assuring you, in fact, the corruption virus never infiltrated them.
You pardon me because I'm
highly patriotic beyond anybody's imagination. I have worked very closely with them. And I know they cannot allow Nigeria to scatter. Any other formation can, because of their personal self-interest, either through tribe or religion or what have you, or sentiments. But they are the ones holding us. And they are still there. Why should I be worried? Because I know they will not allow something wrong to be done.
I'm trying to pack this up because we actually lost some time because of the traffic situation leading up to you coming to the studios. And I'm hoping that you oblige us so that we can have more time some other time. But again, quickly here, the president hasn't actually done a month in office, and we've seen quite a number of activities. One is subsidy. Let us in on your views about the subsidy removal.
Well, I have some experience in this subsidy issue long before this time. I was a member of the Presidential Committee on Economic Meltdown, 2008 to 2009. And I chaired the subcommittee that uncovered the scandals, the thefts, the fraud, the bleeding of the Nigerian nation through the so-called subsidy regime. And we then recommended to the then president that on what steps that need to be taken. And our discoveries, you will be shocked to know that subsidy is being claimed on oil pumped in pipelines that never existed. Oh yes, or sometimes they say they pump fuel from Warri to Kaduna, which never was. So it's just a question of filling up papers, and those guys in the NNPC and those guys in the international, in the marketers, in fact, it's a whole syndicate of people. It's a gang of criminals. And this criminality has been going on and on and on. And I'm assuring you, not more than 50% of what is being claimed to have been paid as subsidy goes to actual subsidy that subsidizes our fuel. That is the true position, whether we like it or not. And in fact, since 2014, when I was chairing the committee on federation account allocation, at a point in time, I advised President Goodluck, and I told him, Mr. President, this your subsidy regime cannot be sustainable, because the bulk of it is going to people's pocket. And we are here as a government trying to scavenge to see how we can bridge up to cover up our monthly budgetary allocations when we have shortfalls of revenue. Please just bite the bullet and remove it.
And as I said, we need to do this again. But quickly, because quite a revealing moment here. But before we let you go, you were Minister for Aviation between 2003 and 2005. And that ministry, which we understand you still so cherish, has been in the news. Nigeria Air.
Well, I think before coming to that, I didn't quite answer that to the bit of
the subsidy removal.
The subsidy removal. Nigerians should understand that subsidy was removed since last year, because already subsidy was budgeted to up to June this year, and there is no budgetary provision beyond June. So any person who is saying that President Bola Tinubu removed subsidy, please let him be fair to him, because we Nigerians, we don't have conscience. This subsidy was removed since lately because it was factored into the budget. And by June, this factory is every Nigerian should know that. Or any person that comes out now and start accusing Tinubu subsidy, I think he's been very fair to himself and to Nigerians. That's the bit I wanted to mention. So the Air Nigeria issue.
Air Nigeria.
Well, Air Nigeria has come to be, like so we saw the former minister coming to launch it. I was asked recently on this same issue, but my take on it is, if to the extent that no government kobo is used in setting up this airline, then nobody should raise an eyebrow. But if government will take its money and say, hey, Minister of Aviation, go and set up an airline for the country, I think that is not so, because the policy of government already taken a decision that it will not go into businesses which ordinarily Nigerians can go into. And it has always, we have always also come to agreement and reality that government cannot raise business, cannot manage business. From history of businesses established in Nigeria, which one succeeded? Tell me one. And I gave example of Nigerian Airways. I was minister then when we were more like with BP, the undertakers. But we had to do it because government took a decision that, look, we must liquidate Nigerian Airways. There is no point to say we want to bring it back again. Much as I tried to convince my president then that I can do it, my background in investment banking is enough to make me turn around this airline. After all, there are a lot of assets. They have one building in New York that is over maybe up to about $200 million. That money is enough to pay off all the jets that can be turned out in the airline. So now that we have had an airline, please, Nigerians should be fair to him. Let him explain, because he owes Nigerians explanation. So if this money belongs to the co-investor, let us know. If that money that the government expended, that is to say, in the process of the ACO or the AOC, like he said, and other expenses of consultants, if that be the case, this money is supposed to be refunded back to Nigerian government, because they should not own the airline. But at least we'd see Nigeria as a golden shareholder, so that, because our flag is the one that's going to be flying it.
Well, I think it's a fine place for us to leave it. But again, I need to extract this from you as is it a done deal that someday in the nearest future you'll be back again so that we can have a robust conversation on state of the nation?
I'm always available, by the grace of God.
Inshallah.
The time is too short.
Thank you very much. I know the time is rather too short. Okay, Issa Yuguda, many thanks for speaking with us. Former Governor of Bauchi State.
There's a lot to talk about the aviation itself.
Aviation alone is
a national carrier, a flag carrier, as to whether it should be private sector driven, or it should be investments of government. But government has already taken away its hands away from investing in aviation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.